one. Can we hear us now? Can you talk?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear us now? Oh, so many trial and errors. Somebody's texting.
Can we hear us now? Can you talk?
Now we can.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Hear us now? We can hear that. Oh, so many trial and errors.
No, I took it off.
Can we hear us now? Now we can.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Hear us now? We can hear that. Vicky is watching. Can anyone hear us?
No, I took it off. I like it better there. You were doing good. My voice sounds
Anyone
good.
hear us? Nobody's answering.
Oh, now they're getting back from our phone. I know we can hear here, so
Yeah, so do not move this.
comments going on. No, Carla says no.
Still can't hear us. What are we doing wrong, girl?
What about now? What about now? What about now? I don't want to keep that on because you guys are going to get screechy noises. What about now?
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Once we get this figured out, we'll never ask you this again. I can hear you. I hear you, says Vicky. Okay.
Oh, thank God.
Thank goodness.
Oh, thank
You
goodness.
don't say that.
Okay. We're thankful you can hear us. All
okay. Okay. Well, I'm just going to trust that we are listenable. Listenable. I hate to go on and on and on without it. I think we're good, though. Yes.
Okay.
Alrighty. Okay, so this is our first weekly podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We okay with weekly?
It's going to be a struggle, but
right. We had this planned spur of the moment because we had our live sales, and you're like, oh my gosh, let's talk about how the live sale went. And then we thought, oh my goodness, let's have a freaking podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Because that's Brittany.
We don't have time.
I know, we don't have time.
We don't have time. I was in the midst of doing something way more important than a podcast, and I said, I got to stop this and go to get ready for the podcast. So here we are. Anyways, we are going to make this a thing, and hopefully you enjoy it. It will not be rehearsed. It will not be right. It will not be always
perfect.
Funny.
Yeah.
Because we are going to be tired someday.
Yeah.
But today we have decided to kick off the podcast. So let's back up. Our podcast is going to be weekly on Tuesdays at 1 o'clock. Today, because to go into the same theme of what we're going to be talking about, today we decided to reschedule because we have more important things like family to deal with tomorrow. Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I won't be here.
Yeah, so we got some appointments going on tomorrow for family that we need to take care of. So today we changed it. Next week we're gonna shoot for Tuesday. Tuesday at 1.
When you start rescheduling your days, it's difficult at first because you're like, okay, now I got to remember Tuesday's an off limits day for me to be anywhere but here.
And Wednesday.
And Wednesday because of
our
live sales. However, I do know, but we wouldn't be able to do this setup, that we can do it from long distance. If I was in Centerville,
you could be, like I could telepath you or something.
Well, there's a button on Facebook Live that you can do it from two different locations. So, that's what I read anyway. We'll see how easy that is.
Only if we could do that like as a hologram and shoot ourselves across the web.
Yeah.
In a second. That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be.
So Tuesdays at 1, we're going to be live. Wednesdays at 3, we will be live for our live sales. That is the time frame we're keeping those things at for now.
Right. Keep an eye on Facebook,
though, because they could always change.
And remember, if you really, really enjoy us, you can watch the replay.
You enjoy us.
You can watch the replay. You can purchase things on the replay, for our live sale event too. So
yeah.
You do not have to be present while we are here. Although it's fun because you can interact with us.
Yeah, so we had the live sale last week, Wednesday, and it was a
Solo.
solo act. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, it was a struggle for me. But it went okay. We
Yeah.
sold things, so that's a positive.
Right.
But it was cottage core. Cottage
Right.
core.
Right. And that's a huge thing.
Right. And I explained to them not cottage, not granny core.
Not granny core.
It was cottage core, but it did fall a little bit into granny core because you can't have granny without cottage.
Yeah, right.
So we did that. But anyways, it was successful. So I do want you to pop on with us Wednesday, 2 days from now. Normally it would be the following day of our podcast. And you know what? I think we should do a more masculine theme this time.
Okay.
I know that's going to be a little bit harder for us.
It will.
But we have a ton of booths who have really cool items like tools and.
But are we going to get anybody to watch to buy tools?
Well, they can watch us in a replay.
Right. Yeah, but how many guys are going to watch?
Well, guys, let us know.
Or it could be not just all like.
She's whispering like you can't hear her.
No, I'm not. It wouldn't have to be tool things. Maybe I think I'm not talking enough. It's weird. Hear yourself.
Okay, we won't do all tools, but some more. Let's do more rustic vibe tomorrow. So we're gonna do. We'll have some signage in it. We'll have some type of Wednesday, not tomorrow. Tool type things. We will have maybe some cast iron
signs.
Just think more masculine vibe, not necessarily for only men.
Right.
But we probably ain't gonna shoot you a flower across the counter tomorrow.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. So we had our live, and I asked for ideas for podcast, and we got one good one for sure, and that was by Carla, and she said, "Let's hear why you guys decided to do what we do every day because we love it so much." No, she basically said, as a family, why did you decide to go into the world of owning antique malls? Malls plural, which is pukable to hear.
That wasn't a plan. That part was not a plan.
Wasn't planned. Still not the plan.
So are we talking about that?
So we're going to jump in because we're 14 minutes in here.
That's a good one to start with because then you know a little bit about our background.
Yeah. So, okay.
So how did this all start?
Why the heck are you here?
Number one, I will tell you that my interest in life has
You have to do this podcast without crying.
I will.
You're not going to cry?
No. My interest in life has always been repurposed and antique, old, and vintage. Would you not agree that the house you grew up had all those items?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Including the guest.
The guest?
It was haunted. It was.
My kids all thought her first house was haunted.
She's wrong. It was haunted.
No, it was not.
If anybody lived in that house after this and watching this, go ahead and tell them.
I love that house. It was so beautiful.
I'm not saying it wasn't beautiful.
It was an old 1800s double-story, two-story house that had an old carriage house to the back that we tore down and built a garage. But it was a cool house. I loved it. Anyway.
So what does that have to do with you owning an antique mall now?
Not yet. I'm getting there. Okay. So I've always loved those items. So there goes where the interest lies, right? Like, so and I've always went to tons of auctions to purchase those items. Went to lots of antique malls to purchase those items over the years. And then, life has lots of twists and turns, right? I had a painting business for 37 years. Painted and decorated people's homes for 37 years. Uniquely Yours Painting was the last name. That wasn't the very first name, but that was the.
You had a different name?
Yeah, I did. The Creative Touch was the very first name.
Oh my gosh, I forgot all about that. No, I knew.
That was just when I first started.
I forgot.
Yes. And then I changed it to Uniquely Yours, YOUNEEKLY.
Right. If you ever see anything that I post and it's spelt unique, spelt wrong or whatever, yours, it's her fault.
And I still have that email address. So sometimes you see that associated with the Square. If somebody's paying with Square, it still has that email address attached to it. Never changed
So
it.
you had that for how long?
30-some years, a little over 30.
What'd you guys do?
33. So we did, I started out with just doing faux finishes for people and coming together with that, like a decorating scheme or theme for people. And I worked alone for the first couple of years. And then my mother worked with me for several years. My sister did. And then I quit for a couple of years because we had a restaurant for a few years.
Your first marriage, yeah.
Yeah, and that was horrible. I can say, though, that I
Now,
owned a restaurant.
right. It was hard work, but you learned a lot from the
I did
business
learn a
aspect
lot.
of things.
Yes, I did. Every business, you learn a lot. You learn how to be around all kinds of people.
Customer service. Like I did
Customer
say on the
service.
live last week, too, I truly believe you should always force your children to be in a
To
customer
work in
service.
some kind of customer service.
At least for a
It
little
makes
bit.
them a better person, honestly. I mean, it should.
It gives them a better filter.
There you go. And could you imagine me without that?
I can't
Oh my
imagine
gosh,
you
because
without a filter.
I have a terrible
Yeah,
problem with
you don't
that.
really have
I
too
don't
much of
have
one.
much of a
Like,
filter.
kind of your mesh is
I
broken.
am the oldest out of 14, and let me tell you, I was never mincing words.
I'm the oldest of 3,
There's
and
just lots to say. Okay, so we're getting off.
You do have a lot to say.
Not really, but we're getting off subject. So
saying
anyway,
words and facial expressions are both communication. So you do have a lot to
I know, because I have lots of facial. I wish I could just not do that, but that's just who I am. And you do it too.
Oh, so, I know. I got the face.
And
the
my
face.
My hands are down here, so you don't see them.
I'm going to slide off topic again.
That's
even further.
Terrible.
My 18-month-old. I was explaining something to somebody sitting. I'm down here crossing my hands because I'll do the same thing and I'll whack her in the face. But I was explaining how something worked or how it was going to be laid out because we're in the midst of concrete laying in our home, and my 18-month-old girl, all of a sudden, she's going, She's so right there with that. Must be something that's passed down.
Not everybody talks with their hands, but we do quite a bit. Yes.
I do not lack the expression when I try to communicate. Otherwise, I can dead stare at pretty good.
Yeah, she's a good starer.
Anyways, so you had the painting business.
So we had the painting business for years and years, and then we opened up a little shop in Portland on Water Street called Altered Style. And in that shop, we did lots of furniture painting, artwork, custom things like that. And then we also had antiques and vintage items in there as well. And so that was in 2018. And so then I slowly started not working as many hours painting because somebody had to be there a lot of the times with a couple of girls that we had working for us. And to be honest with you, it wasn't a huge profitable business, but we enjoyed doing it. And before we opened that shop, I did all of those types of things in my shop at home that wasn't open to the public. It was just my work shop. So it wasn't something that I just started doing and didn't have experience at. I did that for years before we actually opened that shop up. And then we kind of ran out of room for items in that little shop called Ultra Style. And Gary has an obsession with buying things from antiques or from auctions. And our supply kept growing and growing. And we're like, where are we going to go with all this? And blah, blah, blah. And then he hears that, the Jake County Antique.
Well, you got them all. You got a booth here.
Yeah. Well, that was after we decided.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had been in here. I mean, I've been in here off and on when you was little. I mean, I was in here.
Right. Because when did this mall open?
1998, it opened up as an antique mall. So 93, it was still a factory. It closed in 93 as a factory.
So 98 it opened?
1998. So you were
older. 10.
You were 10.
11.
Right. But Taylor would have been small. She lived 5 years apart. So I don't remember if you ever came as a kid, though. Taylor did in a stroller, but I don't remember that. But I would come on weekends or Sundays when they were open. Anyway, so Gary sees that it's for sale, and I said, absolutely not, is what I said. We cannot do anything.
That seems to be the theme with businesses that some people buy for you.
I know, right? I said that. Oh, we don't even want to go there. So I just get drug into these business situations.
It turns out.
So anyway, we ended up getting a booth here in November of 21. I think it was November somewhere. No, it was in August, I think, actually.
Forever ago.
2021 in August, we got a booth here then. So, because we were in the process of trying to purchase it, it took us a year to purchase it with all the paperwork and everything that was going on. So we had a booth and we wanted to know how the back end worked, and we just pursued it until we purchased it. March 1st of 2022 is when we finally purchased it.
Yeah.
Yeah, March 1st, 2022.
Yeah, but the history of your love for antiques is what led you really truly to it.
Absolutely. And Gary and I had always talked about, wouldn't it be cool to own an antique mall and a bed and breakfast? Like that was our thing. We always just kind of wanted to do that. Because we was always thinking ahead, like we can't climb scaffolding and be 12 to 20 foot up in the air every day of our lives. As you get older, it gets so much harder. I was just over that fact for sure. I couldn't do it anymore. I mean, you lose your sense of balance. Even if you don't try to lose it, it dissipates as you get older. My shoulders were hurting. My arms were hurting. Knees, my feet were probably the worst, and they still hurt to this day because I stood on ladders for so many hours of my life. So those are all reasons why we looked into doing this, because we knew we had to have an out, because we've always worked for ourselves. I have just about in every aspect of my life. I have worked for 6.5 years in a factory, and I worked for a retail company, and I was a waitress. Other than that, I've always owned my own business. So many businesses. And I think that's kind of what
how
people do.
No,
I think that's just entrepreneurs like to do that. They find another avenue. Like, we're going to do this now because we like this, and we're going to expand.
I will definitely say, if you're watching, you probably can agree that you're either the type of person who can mentally own your own business and run it, or you're the type of person who needs an 8 to 5 or a 7 to 3 or whatever and go home.
Right.
That's not everybody's cup of tea by far. And I will say that if it's not your cup of tea, you may not realize how much work it is.
Right, because it's never ending.
Anybody who is out there who owns or operates their own business or is closely related to those who do, it you know that your day doesn't stop and start at a certain time.
No, it never does.
It stops when you finally fall out of REM sleep.
Right. I will have to say that
there's many times I call you in the morning at like, oh my gosh, we forgot to do this, or
I know, or we text each other like we should have done this, or like, okay, don't talk about work, it's over with, right? But what was I going to say before you said that?
Owning and where you worked, how most business people fall into that.
I was going to say although this business, I do have more of a stopping hour than I did
because it's got brick and mortar.
Yes, it's a brick and mortar. My other business was a service business, so it was more demanding on me because I would go and paint all day long, come home and work in the shop and come up with boards and ideas and paint treatments and blah 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 for people. And then at 6, then we had supper every night about the same time. And that was one of my things that I always adhered to, was my kids had to be home and we all had to sit down and eat supper. That was my one thing. So I wanted to be home by a certain time every day when the kids got home from school or shortly thereafter. I made supper. Then if I didn't have to go see a new customer or client, then I had a night off. But normally after supper I had to go see a home, or I had to go out to my shop and work. So it was nonstop for me, honestly, for 30 years.
Yeah.
So this is easier, but at the same time, there's a lot of people that you have to be in charge of. Sorry, I didn't mean to spit at you, but like I'm spitting at her. I'm just saying, like, how many vendors do we have? And you have to answer those questions. How many employees or people that are working for you? You have to keep happy and answer those questions. And then your customer base. You always have to keep them happy. So it's a lot more people at one time, all the time. Whereas I might have 4 or 5 clients I was working for per week, and that was enough to keep you hopping. But, yeah, so then you want to know how the multiple malls thing happened. You want to hear that story? This one's a little bit quicker. So we
bought you guys had bought this in February 1st, 2020.
March 1st,
2022. And
Gary
before we jumped on the other one, Gary continued painting
by himself.
Yeah, I worked at Crown still full time.
Yes.
And in HR, and then family life happened there, and you guys talked about this place, taking it on.
Mhm.
I left Crown and jumped on board at Alder Style.
Right.
And then you guys came across this opportunity, bought that again, March 1st, 2022, and we decided to really change everything we saw.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yes.
And it's still every day that we leave and pull in, we're like, oh my gosh, when are we ever going to get that part done, that goal, that
needs to be done,
that exciting thing.
Yes.
Outside work, we still have dreams.
We still have dreams on the outside of this building.
But we took care of what needed done first, starting with piles of things that were in here, organizing, structuring, revamping, finally officially taking care of leaks in the ceilings and along the walls. We got a great opportunity through the village or through the community to help us out with that financing option for the roofing, and we were able to really do some improvements. And we're like, how many years into it now?
3 years.
Wow, that's it.
I know.
3? No, that sounds terrible. 3 years into it, and there was a lot of stuff done.
Yes.
A lot of stuff done in 3 years.
Right.
Those of you who have been in and out know that. Hopefully you've seen that. Why am I crackling? Is that you or me?
I don't know. I heard it too.
But then we got things under control. Literally.
Mm-hmm.
We were setting up for fall market one day.
Is that what happened?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you remember that?
Because we were so busy.
Yeah.
And stressed and tired.
And he calls and says that.
And Gary has a really good idea.
He calls us, hey, I have a great idea. I don't want to paint anymore, as you know, because he was doing it by himself. And it's very hard to do up high ceilings and stuff and climb and come down and whatnot. It wears and tears on your body. We need to buy another mall. And I'm like, oh, no, we're not. Literally, I said, no. I said, and what mall are you going to buy? And he says, the Centerville Antique Mall. And I said, do you even know if it's for sale? No, but I'm going to look right now. So he's on the phone with me yet, and he's looking. And wouldn't you know, that was the day they put it up for sale. Was it that day or the day before? It was the day before. Tuned out. She probably tuned out, yeah. It was either that day or the day before. Now I don't remember. Gary probably remember. And I said, well, that's an omen. I did say,
meant to be, right?
Meant to be. If you're thinking of it, and then all of a sudden, that's the first day they put it on the market. So from there, we started looking. And
again, a family affair.
Yeah.
We all loaded up in a vehicle.
We did.
Drove on over, husbands included.
And I had only ever been at that mall one time.
I've never been there.
Yes, I had only been there one time. And that was probably September. No, it was before that, because we didn't look at it till October. And I'd say we first time Gary and I went was in the spring of 20. It
was approximately a year before you took it on.
Yeah.
That we started the venture.
Yeah, because we've owned that for a year already. So February 1st of 2024 is when we bought Centerville Antique Mall in Indiana. Because, I'm from Ohio. So originally, when people were telling me, have you ever been to Centerville? I'm like, well, of course I have. They were talking about Centerville, Ohio. I was talking about Centerville, Ohio in my head. They were all talking about Centerville, Indiana. So there are two of them, and they're not super far apart. Yeah. They're both south. And anyway, then in October, I think it was when we went to look at it. Wasn't it in October?
I can't remember.
It was September or October. I think it was October. October 1st, for sure. We went to look at it.
Okay, I think Gary's got an answer for us. He called down there to see if it was for sale. They said it just went on the market that day. So we found the realtor. Yeah, and went from there.
Yes. So we made him an offer. We almost lost the whole situation.
That's the way any true business transaction goes. It's not super slick.
Super slick. No, there's always hurdles to jump. Someone else, Yeah, it was a very touch and go situation for a few months because we had made an offer we wasn't able to talk to the owner in person. We had to go through the realtor.
Silent ownership, right?
Silent
Previously.
ownership, yeah.
Mhm.
And
true ownership, not management, yeah.
Yeah, it was just ownership, not management. So we almost lost it to someone else that made an offer that I think knew them, and he accepted that offer, and then the guy backed out after we kind of threw a little commotion there about some things that we weren't happy about, and then we ended up with it. So February 1st has been a year in Centerville, and March 1st has been 3 years for Wheel and Spoke. What are you doing?
Well, I hit it, and now
It fell. Okay.
So
That's how like I said, I don't know if it was a complete plan, but we had always loved.
In general, it made sense.
It made sense.
Right?
And the people that I knew and had made contacts with my 30 years of painting, it all kind of went together because those people love those kinds of things too. Like they had pride in their homes. They wanted it to look nice. They loved decorating things. And we had a huge amount of those people follow us to this business. So that also helped us. And we appreciate that from a lot of people. And that's really the story. Do you have anything to add to that? I mean, well, now we have, Brittany's been with us from the get-go. Gentry's now just kind of.
Gentry comes on. Gentry's mainly in Centerville
now.
And Gentry is you and Gary's daughter.
Right.
Yes. And she gets married in January.
January 17th.
So, and then, I myself and my husband, he's involved whether he likes it or not because he just has to hear about it, right? And then I have 3 kids, and then
Taylor's
my
the
middle sister, and she helps out sometimes on the back end if we got some data questions for sure. And
she helps out on events a lot of times.
Yeah, you'll see her around at events, her and her family. She's got 2 little girls and a husband as well. So
she's busy. So she's not really part of per se doing this type of thing.
She's got a very, very good career.
Yes.
So she's on her own there. But anyways, that is our career choice. Our dream job.
You know what the dream part of it is, right?
Getting to decorate.
Yes, getting to decorate. Oh my gosh, we both love it. So it works out great.
When you guys bought this, one of my best friends from a long time said, "Oh my God, you have the best dream job." She was so excited about it. You have the dream job, and I said, kind of.
It's not every day a dream job, but that's with anything in life. It's always good. Twists and turns and goods and bads.
But customer service, I do enjoy, actually, truly.
And you're good at managing it.
Oh yeah, you gotta have those
and stuff.
You gotta have those.
Yeah, and I'm not as good as you are with that, but she's also gone to school for things like that. I have not.
Sometimes that talent just comes natural.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Well, that's because your other aunt on the other side was good at that too.
So I come from 100% background of family-owned businesses.
I do too. So.
Yes. And with that, you learn everything.
Yeah, because you're in it.
Super cool times, super terrible times.
Yes.
You know that it's 24 hours a day that happens. That you're at work per se. You're not ever at work because your mind should never stop if you truly want to improve and make your business a go.
That is true.
Yeah. Yes. And mental fatigue is way more exhausting than physical fatigue. And then when you add both
together, yeah.
So we're combined about 875 years old, right?
Probably. We walk like we're 80. No offense to my mother, but
yeah, yes. I was thinking about her this morning. I thought, man, I got all of her hereditary problems
aches and pains.
Anyways, that wasn't what this was about.
Nope.
But so we come from very strong business family backgrounds, and we know all the way what work ethic is. I will brag for us that I don't think that we are lazy at all. We probably need to be sometimes.
It'd be nice to be lazy once in a while.
Yeah, but then you're going to start a new project.
Exactly. That's
Like
just gonna
I
say
know
that.
because I had a day off when I got back from
And you
vacation,
had to design something for your outdoor.
I seeded my grass and pulled my weeds. But there's no reason why I should be chubby. I'm always busy working.
Yeah,
anyways, but there, I tried jobs that I went to school for. I went to school for HR, and I tried that office setting 24/7, and it just didn't work because I have too much creativity in my head. So, this was a good mix. I still managed people. I still managed office background business stuff, and then got to be creative.
Yeah.
So,
people that are creative souls, if you aren't doing something creative, you will lose your mind. You know what I mean? Because it's an outlet. It's an outlet for you.
Yeah.
So if you don't do things that are creative and you really are the creative person and you wonder why you're not happy, it's because you need to add creativity.
Yeah. So, I hopefully that answered a lot of what people were wondering.
How many things that I tell you this morning? What? I don't know what that was about.
We're lagged and we didn't pick up on that very fast. But the purpose for our podcast in general, besides this one, and there might be some that are a little bit more of on the personal side versus the business itself, but we really wanted to start this because we thought, well, what the hell? We got extra time in our life now. No.
That's not what we do.
We thought we would really enjoy explaining different outlets as far as you're coming in here as a customer, coming into Centerville as a customer, or in general, you love to go thrifting or antiquing.
Right.
How can we enhance your experience? How can we help you decide if you should pick that up or not? What is trending today? What is trending meaning, what's popular? We would love to be able to eventually maybe throw in some vendors who have some very, very good knowledge on certain pieces and item categories.
Right.
And
so we'll have guest speakers.
If they agree.
I've had people ask us in the past if we do anything like that, so I think we'll be able to find some.
Yeah, for sure. There are definitely people out there
that are experts at things that you would not even think of.
Yes, and we come across them every day here.
Yeah, so we're going to keep an eye out and pull some people in.
Yeah. I think that our first next week, our topic for next week's podcast should be trending in today's vintage and antique world. Okay. So now
what is trending?
Now the gears are going.
Yeah, the gears are going. What is trending in the antique and vintage world right now?
Yeah, because overall, vintage and antique is the style currently.
It is. It's very, very popular with the young crowd too.
Yeah. Young as in 30s.
Yes. Yes. And
20s and 30s. Yeah.
And Gentry's 19, and she's
a little different.
She's a little different because she grew up with it. But you girls grew up with it, and you don't have a love for it like she does.
Well, not that we don't have the love. We just don't like the clutter.
They like to be more simplistic. Let's put it that way. Yeah, but we don't. I know what she means because I have way more in my house than she ever wants in her house.
So even if I cannot see it and I know it's there, I am not sleeping.
Yeah, she's crazy like that. She can't breathe right now. Breathe.
And here's my mother-in-laws are probably watching like, girl, I've been in your closet. I know it ain't clean. No, I just mean that I would love everything to be perfectly in place with a label and cleaned and put away.
Taylor's that way too.
Yes, we are both that way. In different aspects a little bit. I'm a little bit more okay with it. She's very, very simplistic.
Yeah.
Gentry has about 800,000 categories in her brain, and I don't think she can focus on one. But if you ask her what's in style, she's going to tell you everything.
Well, she's good at it though. I mean, she's
recently picked up on merchandising,
how to merchandise, and she's picked up quickly. So she has a little bit of that innate ability, I believe.
That's not something everybody can have. Is one thing that we, I guess, we'll say that we do or we have the ability to look at one particular item and then see an entire setting.
Yes.
You can look at this picture that I keep looking at right across from us, the green picture, and looking at that quickly, I'm talking 3 seconds, and we already know what we could make a whole room look like just by looking at that one picture. Right. I'm talking for you, but I believe we both have that.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is a talent.
Right. Well,
which makes it very enjoyable for us to be here sometimes.
So Gentry pulled one together real quick before the Centerville open house that we had on Saturday, and she, hey John, you want to walk around there?
Well, I've offered John a spot on the camera last week, and he said no. I told you, he's our daily customer, Mr. John. Okay.
Anyway, she saw an object in Gary's board pile and says, I got the perfect idea for this. I'm going to make a booth, da-da-da. So it was a cast iron white bathtub.
Oh, yes.
In a white cast iron bed.
Uh-huh.
And they're both heavy, big items. And we're like, where are we putting these
And you didn't have Brittany to lift them for you?
No, we didn't. Me and Gentry did all this lifting ourselves, by the way. Anyway, we put them on dollies and rolled them clear across the other side of the mall, which is forever long. And she says, I'm going to make myself a granny core booth with linens out of this. I'm going to fill the bathtub with rolled up quilts and toppers, and I'm going to do. And it is adorable. She did it wonderful, but yes. she knew immediately what she was going to do with all of this stuff that was lying there.
Yes,
there you go.
Yep, that's good. We think that's great if you can do that for sure.
Right, Cindy, I love this and admire both of you. Okay, Gary too. Keep on keeping on. Thanks, Cindy. Cindy would be a perfect person to share her decorating knowledge. She's great.
I also thought it would be really cool too, speaking of Cindy, to maybe reach out to some current or past business owners here in the Portland community, and just kind of give a little bit of insight on business ownership in the community as well.
Yeah,
I know that this is a page for Wheel and Spoke Antique Mall, but without our community, we wouldn't be here either.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
We really try. Hey, so anything new coming up?
Anything? Excuse me. I don't know what's coming up.
You don't know what's coming up. Well, we just finished Centerville's spring market, first annual. How did that go? I wasn't there.
It was busy. I thought it went well. We had the full parking lot. I'm telling you, nobody's. There's one lady that's been there since Webb zoned it, and she says she has not seen that parking lot that full.
It's the same response we got here.
Yeah, has not seen that parking lot full since the 80s.
That's good.
She said so. It made her happy, I think. But it was we had, 17 vendors? I don't know, somewhere in there.
Around 20, yeah.
Yeah, and we had a food truck, which Charlie's Chops. He might be here this fall. He said he was. I know.
I knew that Gary was taking lunch, or you guys were really busy because he was really worried about eating in the fall.
Ask anybody how many times he said pork chops on Saturday.
No, that's good. That's good.
Oh my God, that's good though.
I'm not a big pork person, so I gotta get information from other people too. But yeah, nachos, I think he passed on our information, so we'll see if he's available.
Yeah, and he's from Ohio, but does the Indiana.
Dude.
Yeah. Cool. So, and that's hard to find. So that went well. And our other thing that's coming up next here is our Ladies' Night.
Ladies' Night's in July.
July 23rd?
23rd. It's a Wednesday.
We're doing on a Wednesday
our
this year.
Doors open normal time that day at 10, but the event itself is mainly focused from 5 to 8.
Yeah.
So that's a few hours past our end time for the normal.
Right. And we have a theme.
We have a theme. We try to do a theme for our events, but this theme is. I don't know what the really hell theme is.
Well, the Bridgertons. Has anybody watched that?
Oh, yeah, that's been around. But more Granny Chic meets high-end England.
There you go.
That's probably
cottage French cottage.
Yeah, French cottage, French couture.
So we're going to try to do something.
Come in your big hats and dresses if you wish. If you wish.
Maybe we'll have some.
Probably some biscuits and tea.
There you go.
Type things. We're looking for possibly just a little bit of some fun snacks.
Yeah. Well, there's a few people that we've asked to come already too to be part of it.
Yeah.
Different ones that we haven't had. So we'll announce them later. But
Yeah. Main purpose though is for ladies to have a night to escape. The mall is open later. We generally don't always accommodate all hours of people's work days.
Right.
So
Right.
8 o'clock
nice.
instead of 6.
Right.
You can come alone or with your spouse. You don't have to be a he, she, her.
Nope. The guys can come too if they want
to do that.
Somebody did mention, I wish you'd have a guys' night out. Well, that's that.
Yes, Ginger says, don't forget about the bouquet bar. She's so excited about that. And she says, yes, you have to dress up, she says.
She is on this. She loves this whole thing.
I need to pass this event on to her, apparently. So she thinks it'll be so much fun. Yes. So it will be. It will be fun. It will be a wonderful time.
One thing that we may be doing in Centerville, I know we all spoke, but we're still.
It's one family.
It's one family. We were thinking, possibly, since we have an open space where all the vendors sat up for the event on Saturday, which is like there's like a big garage door and then there's an empty space. And we're going to try to keep it nice and clean, Gary. And Gentry says, why don't we do food truck Fridays and have some guest vendor pop-up vendors? Just pop-ups,
Totally had the same thought for here the other day.
Yeah.
It's because we have a parking lot for it, and it not be like special events, but so let's consider this for both locations if you all have insight on that. But and I live in Coldwater, Ohio, and they do food truck Fridays there.
Right.
The only thing I didn't want to do is take away business from the downtown.
Right.
As far as lunches go and things like that.
Yeah.
But
if we only did it once a month, it wouldn't be.
Yeah. It's a possibility. What else are we contemplating for the year?
Opening up an eatery spot here.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure. It is in the books. I am, I'm taking a test on Wednesday for some food licensing. And we have our space in mind in beginning prep for our space. But we are going to be introducing the Factory Cafe here at Wayne. At Main Street Market. Wheel and Spoke Antique Mall. Jesus. Every business I work for started with a W.
Oh, gosh.
One of those wheels. Well.
That's weird. Yeah. So it's going to be cute. I mean, it's not going to be a place that you can go into like a restaurant. We're going to have an eating area out here, but the front of where you can order your food or whatever. However, we're going to do it. We haven't made certain decisions yet. We don't have a complete menu.
It'll be kind of like a walk-up cafe section.
Yes.
Quick meals. It's not going to be fried foods of any kind like that. No. We are mainly focusing on things that you cannot find downtown Portland, and it's also something where you can pick up quickly and take a bite around, take a seat and eat it, or continue your shopping.
Right. So when people come here for a whole day, they really don't want to leave. A lot of people don't want to leave. Like, I wish you guys had.
A lot of people will do half the mall. They'll put the things down and go eat and come back to the other half.
Right. But it's just going to be an advantage, I think, for inconvenience for people.
Convenience for people, yeah.
But it will be good.
When's that?
Because if it's not going to be good,
when's that happening? I was like, I don't know. When you doing it?
It's going to be after Tractor Ninja Show.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
You think?
The goal is fall.
Yes.
We are beginning our structural setting in June. Did you know that? Yes. June. We're going to begin getting our setup figured out.
Yeah.
And then if we can have it out and rolling and going good before the Tractor Ninja Show, we will. Our Tractor Ninja Show's third week in August, I think. We will have it done before our fall market.
Yes.
Which is October 18th.
Yes. We definitely will have it before then.
We will have it done before our vendor night, our vendor swap day.
And that is September 6th. We will have it done by then. Mm-hmm. So we have from now until then.
Yeah, for sure by September you should see that cafe open.
Yes, that'd be great.
pending any kind of health departmental issues for sure.
Well, and she's
we'll get it done. You can come on through. You can just step behind the camera or in front if you want to join us. We're on air. What are you ladies in today for?
Just looking at stuff. We're always here. We're visiting from Florida.
great.
So
What terrible weather to visit from Florida.
uranium. Well, it was raining by us too.
Uranium glass?
Uranium glass.
Yeah,
kind of
we
spread
do.
throughout.
We have 1426, vendor 1426 on that end. Does have a nice
Yeah,
display.
we got lit up.
Yep, and there's one in the back that has one that's a lit up one too. Other than that, throughout the cases, you'll probably find more. Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yes,
Thanks for
uranium
stopping,
glass.
ladies.
Yes, it's fun. So our we got a little bit of time left today. So the cafe for sure by early fall.
Mess up your thing.
She can't figure out the phone. There we
Your
go.
battery's almost dead. By
I
the
know
way.
it is always almost dead. Ask anybody who knows me. So the cafe will open, and then I'm thinking in my head, I got all the events scheduled. I got the 3 main events. One's out of the way. That's 4 main events. We got Ladies' Night was done. Let's Make a Deal was done. Fall Fest was done, and all of a sudden. Oh, and then I'm thinking, I got emails sent out and stuff to get this market on its road and ready to go. Thinking, oh, my 2025 is organized. Walk in today, minus the thoughts that are in my head of everything we could do and always could do. I got 3 more freaking suggestions.
You did?
Yeah, you two. You and your husband, Gary.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do this, and that. Okay. Anyways,
we just can't keep up.
All things, if our bodies could keep up, if 3 people could handle every job possible, we would have it done.
We would.
And we don't work slow. I don't think so.
No.
If you give me an idea, it might be done tomorrow.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
But it might be done 3 years from now.
Yeah, we have other thoughts.
Right. I'm focusing a lot on some maintenance type categories in my head on the back end of things this year for sure. Getting things looking a little fancier and nicer on the outside. But we also have the event center that we take care of too. So that's an extra whole piece of business. So anyways, there's more to our lives than just what you see here on the camera laughing at you.
Sure, that's for sure. Actually, this is a break right here.
This is a break. That's why we incorporated it.
So if you have any suggestions on what you'd like to hear information about or become an expert by listening to us, let us know.
I will mention the one idea though.
What was that? I didn't read any of the ideas. Someone I saw.
No, not podcast ideas, but one idea that Gary had flown out there this morning was we have an extra lot on our south side of the building, right past the main front, and we don't utilize it currently. And we thought, or collectively, we've had this idea, but yes, we had mentioned it, talked about it a little bit more this morning. Oh my gosh, this is going to fall right off. That we are going to open up a vendor farm and flea opportunity this summer.
Like a flea market type thing.
Yeah. So if you have or know anyone who is interested in an outdoor space, this is separate from Wheel and Spoke. If you are a current vendor Wheel and Spoke, it does not go through our system. It would be on their far end past once you go past the main main entrance is over here.
Right, to get to drive, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Main entrance, and it would be on the corner there, right? Mm-hmm. That's what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Used to enter over there for the judo.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a parking lot for the house.
Yeah.
Plus, there's a parking lot on the other side.
But we would have a banner out there if that is succeedingly going to happen, and it should. But if you are interested in having a setup, and we don't know the specifics yet, but we will put something out there, and how to contact if you're wanting to set up and so on. But it's kind of like almost a free range type deal, but we would be the management of that. So if you're interested in having an outdoor space set up this summer multiple times, that could be an option for you.
We just haven't decided if it's going to be. We know it'll be like on a Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday, something like, or Friday through Sunday. We're not sure yet. Just don't know if it'll be.
Is it going to be like a weekly thing
or once a month? I'm not sure. We haven't really talked.
Yeah.
Gary and I have talked about it. Today was the first day she's heard about that part of it, but yeah, we didn't make any decisions. One thing is, when you do something like that, your staff has to be, you have to have enough staff inside because that could create more.
Well, we hope.
That's exactly right. You hope it creates even more here inside.
Speaking of staff, we have some new younger people on board for the weekend, so we are excited about that, and they did a great job this weekend.
And I wasn't here, but I heard they did. Yes. Yes.
So always things changing, including who you'll see at the counter.
That's right. Right. During the week, it's usually pretty consistent. The weekends are another story because, you got to find people that are willing to work weekends and the young kids.
Yeah, if you're interested, let us know.
We can always use more
help. Always take applications. We do have applications on file. It just depends on who we need to work when and if those applying people's schedules will fit in where we need them.
Right.
But yeah, or if you just want to volunteer, we'll let you work for free. True story.
Oh yeah.
Okay. What are we good today? That's about an hour in, folks.
We talked for a whole hour.
We did. Oh my gosh. We rambled for
a whole hour. Rambled for an entire hour.
Right. You can watch us on replay. If you got questions, thoughts, ambitions for us, let us know.
Throw them out there. We're always open to ideas, obviously. If we weren't open to ideas, we would just be stagnant anyway. So.
We'll never be that.
No, we'll never be that. You're right.
So tomorrow we're not on air like we normally would be. So next week you can catch us on Tuesday at 1, pending all family things go well in life.
Yeah.
And then Wednesdays live at 3. So we will see us in 2 days, 3 o'clock.
Yes.
We'll be shooting some items across the counter here. And it'll be about an hour long that way as well. Okay.
All right. Hey, thanks guys for watching.
Woo! We finished it first.
Yeah,
we did it. See you later.
See ya.
Oh,